Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, here's the good thing. Any tech thing that happens, blame me because I'll buy it. I know.
yeah, the Huzumowitz wasn't connected to the, whatever.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
How are you? Sorry it's so early.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I would have been up anyway, just not sitting here down by the train. But yeah, that's
Nice.
no problem. And actually, I think it's kind of a cool idea if there are times when maybe there's not other pressing content to kind of profile a writer and maybe come back to that, where they are, what works, what didn't. So if someone is going to do, try Facebook campaigns or something to put down the plan and what happens and then revisit that.
I
That might be kind of a cool set of instructional things if people are willing to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a demand for it. I think the meetings are good, but I think there's a lot of people who just want to, you know, follow along or see what other people are doing without, you know, having the public forum nature.
I think so. I think new kids may be intimidated because
Mhm.
everyone else has, 40 books out and all these shiny covers in the box and they don't want to take the time. And then, some people don't want to put themselves out there or make a fool of themselves. And
The
that's the
introvert,
beauty.
yeah,
beauty.
introverts.
Well, yeah, and with age comes the ability to learn it's not the end of the world. And that's really how I'm trying to approach this anyway. I'm undoubtedly going to make mistakes, but it's not cancer,
Yeah.
it's the end of the world and I can always fix them. Some of them may be 7-year mistakes, like with the audiobooks though. So I just assume get it right the first time.
No, it looks like you're on the right path. Are you able to see my screen? I think I shared it.
Yeah, you have that. I can see
Okay.
it.
Okay, great. So I have all your questions. I broke up your stuff into kind of, you know, they seem to be grouped into certain categories. You had some content, strategic, and then some marketing questions it looked like.
Nice.
Um, so just to go through your summary, you have that short story out. I believe it's called Love is a Drug.
Yes.
Okay. Is that within the universe?
It is not.
It
It
is
is
not.
not.
Okay.
It was a complete throwaway, um, kind of a what the hell way to just try it.
Okay.
And, um, I just didn't want to screw up my 32,000 word novella, which
That's
is
fine.
part of the universe. And so I thought, well, fine. And so it was, an attempt at cover, an attempt at uploading it and all that, a way to play around with draft to digital formatting and
Sure.
the thing that you sent me,
Hmm.
all that stuff. And in fact, I'm glad I did because I botched the very first cover and title. I can't remember what I did wrong, but
Okay.
I clicked the wrong button or something. And so I had to quick unpublish it, but apparently you can't.
No, no.
You can't republish something ever with the same title unless
Yeah.
you put something to that effect. And so I thought, well, hell with that, so I just quickly changed the name of it. So anyway, that was actually a really good dry run. One to show that it wasn't the end of the world,
Hmm.
and two to kind of learn how not to do things.
Yeah, it's scary when you hit that publish button, but you don't have 10,000 followers. They're not going to download the wrong thing. You can fix it
Right,
easily. It's great.
right,
It's the beauty of doing it yourself. You can fix things
right.
very fast.
Absolutely. So I thought my plan had been to use that little bitty short story as one of the lead magnets, even though it's not in the universe.
Okay.
Uh, and I need to do that, but I put it in Kindle Unlimited,
Hmm.
um, and then I realized I can't do that, so I had to take it out. But I'm waiting for that time to expire. Anyway, I think I'll probably do a promo for that just to give that away.
Okay. Okay. You sounds like you're moving a little bit. There's like a lot of crackling and stuff. I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm sorry.
No, no, it's fine. I know you're in the car. I'm sorry. I just didn't want. Yeah, it was cracking. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, cool. No, it's fine. So you have the lead magnets ready. That's awesome, and the audiobook. That's
It
freaking.
is almost done. It is
That is
almost done.
amazing.
I'm on the last couple of chapters now. And I've listened to some audiobooks
Yeah.
um, before before I decided to do this, but I already had the equipment.
Yeah.
And the truth is, some of the audiobooks are crap. They're
Oh yeah.
way too slow, which annoys me because I'm not that way. And many of them are rife with terrible mispronunciations,
Yeah.
like unerringly instead of unerringly, and that kind of jars me. So anyway, we'll see. I figure I don't have a lot to lose.
No, you
Um,
don't, especially since you did it yourself. This is
yeah, my
your audiobook revenue will be, a short portion, but it will be a higher earnings because people will pay a little bit more for an audiobook than they would for just a print book. So you'll see your profitability on that will be higher because you did it yourself, because you didn't really have any costs to do it. So that's a great thing.
right.
I'm super happy that you did that. That's awesome. That's going to really, I think that will make it very dynamic, your lead magnet, because you'll have both the print. You're going to do print for the lead magnet as well.
I figure
Okay.
go big or go home. I think
Sure.
part of, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think
Oh.
part of the issue with a new author is this a hack or is this someone serious?
Hmm.
And my hope was that even having the little short story with 11 good ratings
No, no, it's great.
and and being able to have multiple formats out at the same time would perhaps confer
Hmm.
legitimacy as well as the ability to say, okay, peeps, the next one is ready.
Yes, I know. I think it's great. But having the digital, the print, and the audiobook all done at the same time, it's not a necessity. But if you can do it, it does look good, right? I agree with you that do you have the. Have you seen? Do you see what those look like in Kindle? I mean, in Amazon, where they have the three options that you can scroll through. Do you know what that looks like? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so you've seen that. So that's I think it's great. I think it's awesome. And so you said you have this. Okay, your lead magnet's done. Your first novel's completely done. Um, I think at that point you can go ahead and go live and start to promote if you want. I was thinking that you could possibly put a pre-order for novel two,
Hmm.
even though it's not ready, just to capture what's next. You know what I mean. Like if you have your lead magnet out there, that's for generating emails, email subscribers and all that
Hmm.
great stuff. You have book one, you do a promotion on book one, they finish it, they don't know where they're going to go. It's nice to have at least a pre-order available for those people to go, oh, I want book two. Oh, it's available. I'll buy it, and then it will come into my Kindle when it's ready. So it's nice to at least have somewhere for them to go when they're done with your book one. And then subsequently when book two comes out, if you can throw up book three for pre-order as you're kind of finishing it up, that
Hmm.
helps that read through for people to kind of get interested in what's coming. And then you said you had another novella in the works. Is that the end of the series, or is that another prequel?
It's kind of simultaneous action on a side character. It's kind of I'm lucky to have for the novel, I've had 18 people go
Hmm.
through it,
Okay.
and it's kind of, it's not a high end, but it's still enough to find what they like and they hate. And I think people seem to like or hate certain side characters. And so when I find one like that, I kind of tuck that away and think, ooh, maybe this could be a fun side story to have. So it's just a kind of
Got it.
simultaneous story with it about a character that people enjoyed.
Okay.
And the only trick there is I want each one of these to stand alone
Hmm.
and yet hint and intrigue about the other books. So the good thing is people should be able to read them in any order.
Okay.
Um, but of course, the trick then is how much to how much to tease versus spoilers. So so
If
that's
yeah.
what it is.
Okay, so if that second novella, does that live best between one book and another, or is it again, it can be just standalone anywhere type of thing?
I think it can be standalone
Hmm.
anywhere. Um, I think it could stand alone anywhere. My hope was to maybe use it as another
Hmm.
lead magnet, perhaps. I think if people like my writing, the crazy ones will just read through everything and that'll be
Hmm.
that. But I'm hoping to kind of suck new ones in as I go. So I was wondering if maybe it would be something to kind of launch and freebie maybe in between books 2 and 3.
Okay.
It's kind of a new chance to pull people in. And then for the people who are already past that stuff, I didn't know if this would maybe be another reason to suck people into the box set later. And that was a reason to maybe do the box set later because once they've already bought the other things and then the box set comes out as the last, now we are the hell done kind of thing,
Yeah.
that it could be, here's the box set, honey. I know you have it, but guess what? There's 2 more short stories and a novella, and 2 alternate endings in here.
I
And I
think
think
that's
that
a
would be a good thing.
I that's I think that's a great way to kind of tease a box set. Sort of like how they do DVDs, here's the making of,
Bonus
yeah,
content.
bonus content.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Absolutely.
a I think it's okay. I think that's a great plan to use that novella in that way. And then your additional, alternate ending type of stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
great. Put that into the box set because that could revitalize people to reread stuff, and that gets you
Sure.
it basically can double your read through potentially for people who enjoy the story, right? I'm always asking these questions because, where does it fit in the in your catalog, and how is it going to be presented to the reader? So I always like to point out like Tony's Mildred series.
Hmm.
She's got her book 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so you get this nice little carousel here below your book 1. So you'd have book 1 right here, and then if people buy this and they go, "Oh, it's a series. Here's the other books." It allows them to come back and say, "Okay, I need to get that book 2. How do I get that book 2?" I'll just go back to book 1 and it's right there. And then under book 2, if you click on book 2 like this, it still again has the carousel there letting you know it's a series. So I'm only asking these questions because you'll want to promote your series using
Right.
the carousel feature, and I didn't know where that novella would fit and how
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
stationed. So okay.
Everything else right now is within that story framework
Yeah.
series. So
Okay.
everything else, yeah, those could all
So
go down.
Finders Keepers is your novella giveaway. That's the
Yes.
first one.
Yes.
Then Helios is the first book, New Heights is the second, and Submerged Hopes is the third.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
great. Okay, great. So and that's where we're at right now. All right, cool. Okay,
Right.
I just
That's
want
where we're at. And then I have one more that I haven't done a cover to, this other one that I was talking about that we can
yeah.
add on later. And I thought that was a great talk we had about
Mhm.
branding the other day.
Yeah.
And these covers I'm hoping will be good enough. And what I mean by that is, um, the first one I think very definitely says this is a
Romance.
romance.
Yeah.
And the second one, I have worries about how thumbnaily that one will be,
S-
but
So
um,
it'll be about I'm just scrolling in and out, just
right,
trying to get to the right thumbnail size. I think that's
sure.
about the same size here. Let's see. Let's just do Mildred uh, Keefe real quick. Okay, so that's about as big as it'll
It's
be.
about, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
you can see how big that is. So yeah, I mean that it says Greek. I mean it's white, so there might be some concerns there. But listen, as a start, it's fine. Get it going.
I
Eh,
figure I can always redo them, but what I'm hoping to do with this is invoke escape, travel, multicultural.
Yes.
And then with the last two, um, those have a thriller element as well, and
Yeah.
so those are not um, quite as fluffy looking as the one with the glass hearts there.
Hmm.
Um, so, we'll see how that we'll
Yeah.
see how that works out.
And you know what? And Sierra gave a great talk, I think, last year when we were able to
Right.
still all
I
meet
remember that.
about
Hmm.
the rebranding, and
Right.
that's absolutely something you can do. And so don't worry about it. Start with something, and then adapt into what you want to do, right?
Right.
And
Well, I can always put six pack Jack up there if I need to, but I think I'd kind of rather not, and no offense to those who choose that, it's very distinctive, no doubt, but I think my audience is going to be people who aren't traditional romance readers as well,
yeah.
and perhaps even that 17% of male readers who will read a romance,
Hmm.
um, because my stories are about a lot more than just
Yeah.
the relationship. So anyway, that's partly why I have covers that are less meaty, shall we say,
No,
than
no, no,
others.
absolutely. And so it'll be important for you to pick the right categories. That
Right.
kind of you can. So I always like to say, like for example, my books tend to straddle urban fantasy and a little bit of a cult.
Hmm.
And it's not orb shooting, brooding young kids in a magicians and sorcerers in a
Right.
city, but
Sure.
I have a urban fantasy. I do have that type of stuff, but I also am more on the more darker side, kind of horror-y.
Hmm.
So I kind of when you kind of span those genres, like what you're saying, like, oh, I have romance in here, but it's also an adventure thriller or whatever.
Yeah.
You can pick a couple categories that kind of point to all of them, right? So you can have, like, my books are in the urban fantasy camp, but I also have it in the occult horror and supernatural, right? So you can
Hmm.
bridge those, and so when you do a promotion, you'll buoy up into basically both genres, both genre categories that
Hmm.
you touch, and you can see which one you get a little bit more traction on, right? You'll get
Right.
some reviews and say, "Oh, this isn't romance." And again, if you're getting things like, this is in the romance category and it's not romance, 2 stars, that type of thing, that's
Hmm.
fine. If you get a couple of those, then you go into you go into your dashboard and you change the category and say, okay, the romance readers are kind of not liking this. I'm more of a thriller, action, adventure, escapism, travel type of thing. And
Hmm.
maybe then that's the genre category you're going to target. And you can adapt over time.
Sure.
But at first, anchor yourself into some safe camps and then try to promote within those. I think this is fine. This is really good. Great job. Okay, so good. The one thing that I wanted to bring up, I think, was, okay. That's Mildred. Sorry. Um, let's see. I had some slides that I was looking at, and I wanted to. Here it is. So we had this idea last year called the content matrix,
Right.
where you look at everything you have in terms of a matrix, like side and down, right? You have rows
Hmm.
and columns, and a majority of if you're doing a series, majority of your focus will be in the lead magnet and book one. You will promote some of book two, some of book three, but the main focus will be here because you want to get people into your series. But since you're doing standalone books, you'd be able to run promotions on any of the books and get people to read through or cross read and get into things.
Right.
So you do want to look at, like, your short story is down here, right? And I have a thing, here it is. So an example author. So you have your lead magnet, which is going to point people to book one. And then may have some ancillary content, like your short story, that you want to point to your lead magnet,
Hmm.
which then points people to book one. So if you're going to do any promotion on your other content, you want it to push people into your series, because that's where you're going to get the most read through. It's your highest potential earnings, because people are going to tend to read through the whole series. You want to drive people into that. And so I think that fed into one of your questions around content. Is it worth putting also buy for the short story in the front matter? So what was that question? Is that
Oh,
regarding?
you know how you open a book and it says, you know,
Yeah.
this title by so and so, and then sometimes there's an also by, and then they list all the other books they've written.
So,
Um,
yeah, we don't want to
that's
yeah, you can do that. You can give it a try since it's a short story. We tend to put the also buy this stuff at the end, but you can play with it. You can say, if you enjoy this series or you enjoy this short story, there's a series that I've written, and here's a link to go do it. Um, and then put that
I do
same
have
content at the
that.
end. Yeah.
I do have that in the end of that short story. I have it's 17 pages and half of it's just intro and exit. But
Yeah.
at the very end of it is a plea for reviews
Good.
that this keeps Gus in puppy chow, and then a link that says that Finders Keepers is coming. And so
Perfect.
I'll have to figure out, I guess, at some point how to say, to tweak that and say, actually, it's here. Go buy it now.
Yeah, so the when you're just starting out, the front matter and back matter of whatever you're putting out, whether it's the short story or it's the novella or if it's book one, it's going to be a little dynamic at first because
Mhm.
as you're the snapshot of what you look like as an author to the reader. So like always think about how you are, what the reader sees in you, right? Okay, here's their
Mhm.
catalog of stuff. What do I do? Right? The snapshot of your front and back matter is going to change and evolve over time. So at first, yeah, you're right. It's going to point to the novella that it's coming out. But once the novella is out, you'll probably launch the novella and book one at the same time. So you'll want to go and update the back and front matter of the short story to say, hey, my series is available. Here's book one. If you'd like to read the prequel, here's a link to go download my free novella, right? That type of stuff
Mhm.
you will be changing that over time. And then once you have book two and book three, you may promote the box set as opposed to book two or whatnot, right? So you'll have a lot of different options. And so depending on what you see is working, are you getting clicks through or are you getting a lot of read through, whatnot. I used to give away my book one in my series, and
Mhm.
in my email marketing stuff, I would always upsell to the box set, and I
Right.
would get a lot of I would get a lot of purchases there as opposed to just book two. And people
Right.
just say, "Oh, I want all the books. Just give me all of them," right? That type
Sure.
of stuff.
Right.
That may be something there. And then in a side manner, you may get a lot of read through as well. So it's dynamic. So you want to play with your front and back matter
Right.
over time. So that's absolutely fine. So then you had a back matter for short story, plea for reviews, perfect. Coming soon, great. That's exact because that's the snapshot of who you are right now, right? Here's my
Right.
book. If you want to read more,
Right.
you need to sign up for my mailing list. Okay. Assuming should I go for the next novel? So I think when your lead magnet and your book one is available,
Mhm.
the short story should just point to the lead magnet.
Okay.
um, just do that. Have it because it's not in the same world. Just have say, hey, if you'd like to get into my series, go sign up for my newsletter. And then maybe after that, like after you do here's my free novella that gets you into, I don't know if you have a name for this series. Let's just say my, I don't know, my escape series or something like that.
Sure.
You'll want to call it something, right?
Right.
Um, you'll say, hey, here's my novella. It's free. Sign up for my newsletter, and then then after that have a page where you'll highlight the escape series. The first book in the escape series is the Helios book, so you'll have two promotions. First is the email list because I want your email. Second is here's the series. So I finished the short story. No, here's my novella because I want to get you on my email list, and then here's my series. So that's kind of how you'll want to do that. And then once that's set, you don't have to touch that ever again, probably ever again, for at least for the short story.
That
For your
sounds
for your novella, at the end, you'll want to promote book one, obviously. Just
right.
push everybody into book one, and I don't think you'll have to change that going forward ever again. For the back matter for book one, you'll obviously want to promote book 2, and you may change it in the future when the box set is available. So you'll promote book 2, and then maybe the next page you'll promote the box set that's available. Give people both options. And then once that's done, I think that's pretty static. You won't have to change that ever again. But in between that time period, you may tweak and change and, play around based on what
Okay.
you're seeing other
Sure.
authors are doing. So that's
Sure.
cool. Yes, the back and front matter is kind of it's kind of smoke and mirrors. Sometimes you hear people say different things, but you at least want to tell the reader what's there. I did hear something. Um, I did hear something from Tori, I think over a year ago, that Amazon knows when the book is over, like when it's the last page, because your table of contents tells them that the book is over, and when they
Mhm.
see the page break at the end of the book, they immediately throw people to leave a review on Goodreads, and it cuts out the back matter. So you at the end of your book, when it's your last chapter, you put the end or whatever, don't put a page break there. Keep it as the same chapter and put all of your back matter in the last chapter.
Right. And
Okay, so
that's what I did, I think,
okay,
for the short story,
good.
because I had heard that and I didn't want that
Yeah.
to disappear.
Do make sure you buy your books every time you put up one, and then read it on your Kindle. Or do you have a Kindle or an e-reader or
Uh-huh.
anything?
Yeah.
Okay, so buy it, have it be delivered to your Kindle, and then go all the way to the end and just you know see what happens, right?
Right.
Always see what Amazon's doing to your books. It's always a
I
good
didn't
thing.
I didn't buy my own. My husband did, my son did, my dad did. But 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 I didn't. I
Okay.
guess I could because
Okay.
I have a separate thing.
Well, ask them what their experience was, like the nuts and bolts, and see if they have any feedback or whatnot. Um,
Right.
okay, so then we have the big strategic questions:
Yes.
wide versus Amazon. The terrible decision. Is there any downside in going wide? If I get stuck in Amazon. Okay, so we always say, and we've done this a couple of times for new writers, is stay in Amazon to start, and because you can take advantage of the KU program. It gives you a couple advantages. I think they goose the rankings a little bit if you promise to
Okay.
be exclusive to Amazon, meaning that they give you a little bit of, you know, one extra balloon in the great, up. We have all the balloons on top of the house. They give you one extra balloon, or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, so they give you a little bit of boost. You also get uh, and if you publish your audio book through ACX, which is the Amazon thing,
Hmm.
I'm almost guessing that if you're exclusive, you have a digital, a print, and you're in KU. I think that is like probably you know, a nice package that they may give you an extra balloon. I'm pretty certain they'll probably promote their own content more than anything else. Um,
Hmm.
I would stay in Amazon for, you know, give it 6 or 9 months, right? Just play with the platform.
Okay.
Um, and why we say that is, if you're wide, it really helps to have a nice email list because you'll have people say in India or Australia or in Europe or in Canada, and they may have different platforms they buy their ebooks on, whether it's Kobo,
Mm.
Apple,
Okay.
Amazon Play, whatever it is. And once you have a nice email list and you come out with that next book, they can go on the respective platforms and buy the books in the modes they like. Um, I once did a question to readers on my email list about, do you read a Kindle? Do you read an Amazon products, or do you have EPUB or some other third party
Right.
thing? And it broke up to be about 2/3 Amazon, 1/3 a separate platform. So all my books are in the Amazon platform, which meant like a third of the people on my email list got my book from my giveaways, but they don't read on Amazon.
Hmm.
They don't buy books through Amazon, and I'm exclusive through Amazon, which meant like a third of my email list at that time, would never
Was a
buy
dead
books.
end.
Yeah, it was a dead end for me. So it
Wow.
was, not everybody asked, like, I got a nice sample. I got like a 20% sample of the whole
Yeah.
list. And it was very telling that, people who were willing to click and take a quick survey to get a short story, um, were a third of them did not want my stuff. So that is something to consider, and that is a concern. A couple authors in our group have tried to get around that. Like I think Linda did a thing where she has her book for sale a week ahead of time on her website for the people who are not Amazon customers. And then after that week is done, she closes it down on her website and then puts it up on Amazon. So, but that's a lot of work, and that's not
Yeah.
something I think you should worry about right now. But there are ways to kind of get around it.
Okay.
Um, Things like that. So I would stay with Amazon because you got to learn the platform,
Okay.
and you got to learn the platform. You got to have that excitement that you're going up the charts in Amazon.
Uh,
Also, when you're learning how to market, like when you're buying promos and you're sending out newsletters, it's so nice to just focus on Amazon as opposed to 7 or 8 platforms.
okay.
Um,
I can see that. That makes sense. I think the only thing that I was wondering about is the audiobook is a 7-year gig, whether you go through ACX or you go through this place called Findaway Voices. Um, and it looks like the Findaway Voices, when you go to their website, they market to everybody, and it looks like the likelihood of maybe being able to be in libraries is higher with that. And certainly the royalties is way more. Instead of 40%, it's 80%, 85%. So that was pretty astonishing. But maybe it hardly matters when we're talking royalties from 5 books.
yeah. Yeah. So the question is like the difference between Amazon and Wide. Um, the argument I think hinges on a profitability question on if you're exclusive to Amazon, you are enrolled into the KU program. You get paid for page reads. Is
Mm-hmm.
the earnings from those page reads higher than what you would earn from Kobo, Apple, Android, all the other Barnes and Noble, all the other platforms? That's
Mm-hmm.
I think the question between Wide and Amazon exclusive is outside of people having moral issues against Amazon,
Right,
that type
right.
of thinking. If you put that aside, I think it hinges on, am I going to make more money wide versus page reads on Amazon? And that, I think it hinges there. And um, unless you have a big email list, and since you're just starting out,
Right. I don't have one.
KU, I think you'll make a little bit more green from the page reads. Um, but that doesn't mean you're committing years into Amazon, right? The KDP Select period is 90 days, and so at the end of that 90 days, you can unenroll and then go wide, and then you can use the draft to digital
Mm-hmm.
platform, which you have some experience with now, to push all those books out to those platforms. And then if you can experiment with being wide, and if wide works for you, and then at say you do that for 6 months and you say, oh, I made a lot more money on KU than I did wide. Draft to digital is so easy. You just click on the book and say, pull my books down. And they pull your books down within like 5 days or something like that. Some really quick period. And then
Right.
boom, your books are back down. They're off the other platforms. And then boom, you enroll back into Kindle Select, right? KDP Select. So you can move in and out using draft to digital as kind of that way.
Right.
You can experiment. But I would always say, like, if you're going to be wide, you want to have a little bit bigger email list, a little bit more of a
Okay,
reader.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So
That,
that's a long answer, but those are kind of the pros and cons that a lot
yeah,
of people talk
that
about.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, to get at one of the things that you said, you talked about readers in various countries
Mhm.
using different platforms, etc. When I put up the short story, I just clicked every box there was. So technically, technically the thing could be bought in Amazon India and
Yeah.
all over the world. Looking at my little reports, I sold one in Australia and
Hmm.
the rest were all US.
Yeah.
So is there a downside to clicking all those boxes
No,
or
no, no, no,
okay,
no. Those are great. Yeah, that's
okay.
Amazon's way of competing with some of the platforms that are more popular in other countries. Like Kobo's kind of a Canadian. They're kind of going Canada, Europe, so they're very
Uh,
popular there.
okay.
And I get a lot of purchases in the UK through the UK Amazon store, and I
Uh-huh.
think a couple in Germany and Australia. So like you'll see that coming in. I think that hopefully answers your question. Yeah,
Yes, it
you'll
does.
absolutely do that. When they convert the what's the currency in India, the rupee. When they convert the rupee into dollars, it's still money. So
Right, right.
yeah, yeah. So definitely okay. So the price point for the lead magnet, $1.99, perfect, fine. So the important thing is for that lead magnet when you publish it on Amazon is you want to make sure that's not in the KDP Select platform because you will want to give that away on your website and then use it in your book funnel giveaways to grow your email list. So it's very important that that lead magnet's not in the KDP Select because it's not going to be you can't give it away because it has to be exclusive on the Amazon platform. That's part of the rules and regulations of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, you can play around with it and put it in there and try it for 90 days, but you're not going to be able to give it away on your website, and you can't do any book funnel newsletter promotion where you grow your newsletter, your email list. And
Okay.
I think you're trying to do two things. You're trying to grow your readership, make a little bit of money. Growing your readership is capturing people in your newsletter,
Hmm.
so you have access to readers, so you can promote your next book, and then you want to make a little bit of money, um, at least recoup some costs and whatnot. So I think to do it correctly, you want to make sure that's not in the KU platform. But I think the $1.99 is fine. You can absolutely do that. Some people play with the 99-cent thing, and you can, that's a simple change, and you can play with it. So you can run a promotion at a $1.99, and then you can run one at 99 cents. It doesn't matter. I think a $1.99 is fine
No,
for a
I think
novella.
there's it's 32,000 words. The truth
Yeah.
is people bought a short story for 99 cents. That blew
Uh-huh.
me away.
Yeah.
Um and I think there's this certain you get what you pay for feeling. I think maybe there's
Yep.
so much crap on Amazon
Hmm.
that whole novel is 99 cents. People will think, well, that can't be worth a damn.
Yeah.
And so and then of course there's also the money grubbing 70% royalty as opposed to the 30% with the
Yeah.
with the $1.99. So that's my rationale for choosing $1.99 is that maybe it will look a little more legitimate.
One of my favorite people to talk about is this guy, IT Lucas. Here it is. So my mom is all about this. This is just kind of like a fantasy bodice ripping type of thing. Um, let's see what he does. He has a perma-free book one in his 37 book
Good
series.
Lord.
So 40 book series, and my mom has read every single one of them. You know,
Hey,
um,
I need to have your mom sign up for my email list.
no, no, I do actually, believe it or not, my mom's got a KU account. I send everybody through her. She's read almost everybody. But you could see here, when you have 40 books, you can really play with the price. So his book one is normally 99 cents, but he's running it. Oh, I have some free money from Kindle, but maybe it's free today. You can play around with price when you have 40 books,
Right.
So
Yeah,
now he is
absolutely.
2.99, 2.99, 2.99, and I think then all of a sudden, yeah, it becomes 3.99, right? And then he stays 3.99 all the way to the end. And so you can play with the price once you have a lot of stuff. So that IT Lucas is one of
You
my
know, I
favorite
should
examples.
buy one of those to see what his secret sauce is because I'm trying to learn how much is just psycho rabid readers
Yeah,
versus decent authors. I mean, that
yeah,
sounds terrible, but there are some people who will read almost anything
yes,
and I guess that kind of ties in to where to target. And this is maybe premature, but where to target with regards to ads and promotions. You know,
yes.
do I target authors that I know I can blow out of the water because I've read their stuff
Hmm.
in my indie stalking, or do I target ones that sound like they're uh, aligned closely to my book, hoping that those readers.
Yeah. Um, yes, I agree. Yes, I think you're doing. I think yes. Um, let's see. So let's move on. Let's see. Okay, good. You got your pricing fine. And then, for book one, set it at 299, whatever you feel, 399, whatever you feel would be right.
Hmm.
So that's not an issue there. Book one will go into the KDP Select platform, so you can then run your free promotion days. You can do free giveaways, all that type of stuff, and use the KDP Select features to promote your book one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You get 5 free days per 90-day cycle. Typically, you'll want to don't waste them, because they're, even if you don't even pay for a promotion and you just set it free, you're going to get 50 or 60 ghost downloads automatically. I've set my books just for free and just as a test, and
Hmm.
I did zero promotion, no newsletter, no nothing. Didn't even let anyone in the co-op know. You get like 50 or 60 downloads. So don't waste your days.
Yeah,
So
I need to do that with the short story. I
is the
haven't done that yet.
is the short stories in KU?
Um,
It
I
should.
put it, yeah, I put it in KU at first, and
Okay.
I think I put to take it out, but it still is right now.
Okay. You can run a free day. Just try it.
Well,
Set it.
I figured maybe that's what I figured maybe I can try to do a newsletter swap and time the free days for that,
Yes.
but I
Yep.
just haven't done it yet.
Okay. All right. Great. So okay. Good. Yeah. So typically you'll do a 3 day. You can do 2 days, 2 days, one day, 3 days, 2 days, however you want to
Hmm.
use it during that 90-day period. We've had a lot of people running promotions using 3 day cycles, where like it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Sure.
they run a free promo, they pay to get into a newsletter, they get three or four they get 2 or 3 thousand downloads over that weekend, and then they have a long tail of people reading through the rest of the books. Like Tony's a great example of that. She runs promos all the time on book one. She's constantly getting read through over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks after that. So that's kind of the initial things that you'll probably do, is those kind of free giveaways, and then you'll get a nice read through into book one and book two type of thing. All right. What about pre-orders? I agree. I think if you put up your novella and then your book one, you should probably put up a pre-order for book two and make sure they're all linked together in that carousel beneath.
Right.
The pre-orders will show up. Let's see if my guy, Mr. Lucas here, has a pre-order for book 40.
Hmm.
My mom, and this is a good example. My mom will pre-order. Yeah, here it is. So, book 40
Jeez.
in his brooding romance series is available for pre-order. So pre-order one click. My mom has probably already done it. Um, just as an example, this is just the nuts and bolts, and then you'll see um, book 39 um, has whatever many reviews or whatever. So yeah, you'll want to set it for pre-order so that in the carousel it will appear and people can then go and buy it if they like book one. Um,
Is there a rule of thumb for pre-orders? With this one, the book is already done and edited, till hell wouldn't have it. So
yeah,
it's ready to go other than the audiobook. Um, but is there a general rule of thumb how long people are waiting to do, should you put up a pre-order if you can guarantee it's deliverable within 2 months, 4 months, someday? What do you
typically you don't. Yeah, typically you don't want to go like 4 months.
Okay.
I believe there used to be a limit, but I think that changed where you have to release it within 4 weeks or something like that. I haven't played with pre-orders yet, so you may want to reach out to Linda. Linda played with pre-orders in her rescue mission series, and she can walk you through that whole process. I have yet to use pre-orders, but just from
Hmm.
this, because
Okay.
I don't release as frequent, because I have the kids, and it's
Right, of course.
harder for
Right.
me to be a little bit more deterministic on my publishing dates. the
Sure.
um
Sure. Well,
Linda did that, so
I think I'll do the pre-order. I mean, I don't see a downside. If it
no,
sucks people in, hooray, the book
absolutely.
is ready. So I'll put up the pre-order and then it its release date will be however long it takes me to dictate the audiobook.
I think
So that
that's yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. So you'll do three things when you launch. You'll put up the lead magnet, you'll put up book one, and then a pre-order for book two. I think that's perfect. That's perfect. Um, you said you had about 18 people go through the book. Is it
yeah.
possible that a lot of those people can, leave you some reviews, or do you have people who can leave you some objective reviews on book one and maybe the lead magnet as well? Is there any way to do that?
Okay, well, I think yes, probably, but not as much as I had hoped.
Okay, that's fine.
And well, at least going by the short story. So the short story has sold 22 and then
Yeah.
one page read, so yay. But it only has 11 reviews. And I don't know who had reviews rejected. For example, it didn't let my husband leave a review
Hmm.
because, we live in the same address. I imagine they were clever enough to pick that up.
Hmm.
But I do have 11 reviews, and those are from my buddies. But um, obviously that's only half of the people who got it. So um,
Okay. No,
so
that's actually like 11 reviews out of 22 buys is actually pretty
is
it's
it good?
yeah, it's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Okay, well,
Normally,
and the reviews are good,
yeah,
so I'm happy with that.
let's see if you did you claim your book good. Okay, you did all the back the Amazon Central stuff. So good. Awesome. Yeah, so I think that's fine. That's fine. If you, as much as so you can do like a little soft launch, you can just go ahead and release all the books, put everything up, put everything in the right categories, do all that stuff, then let everybody know that, hey, if you guys want it, it's available. Maybe you can set it in your soft launch, everything to 99 cents. So people who want to buy a copy, get that verified copy, can leave you a review. And then you can then change and adjust your prices so that when you do your first promotion, that it's all in the right price points for you
Hmm.
type of stuff.
Okay.
You can definitely play around with that. I've seen people like I've heard Dawson go through his release strategy. That was probably last year, so I don't know if anything's changed since then. But he does like a soft launch to his review team, and then he'll get 40 or 50 reviews on day one, and he does a soft launch there. So he posts it at 99 cents. Those people I think buy the book, leave a review, and then he goes and after like 2 or 3 days of soft launching, he'll then set it to the right price, and then boom, and off he's running with his promotions that he normally does.
Hmm.
um, if you can just get a couple of reviews, it's fine. Just a handful, like two or three or four, it's fine. The fact that you have 11 on the short story is great. If you could pull that type of reviews off of just a single, hey everybody, my book's out, great. That social
Yeah.
proof,
Yeah.
being above that like 10 number is kind of a magical number for it seems like.
Okay.
And then
Cool.
then the next one is 50, and then the next one's 100. Once you get into
Yeah.
100, you've crossed so much. Like Tony, I think, is getting close to 100 reviews on her
That's
first
so
book.
cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of a magical thing. Like, oh man, what was it? My wife's reading a book right now, and I was blown away. What was it? The Nightingale. Nightingale. Get a load of that. 43,000 reviews. So
Wow.
that's like next level stuff, right?
Right.
that's I'm a big publisher and I can get a lot of reviews and stuff. So anyway, that's
Right.
that's the Abby normal. Most people, if you can get into that 25, 40, 100 review, like you could even saw with the IT Lucas stuff there, right? With
Right.
so IT no IT Lucas, there it is. Um, his first book's got 4,000 reviews. I mean, that's some next level reviewage, right? But then his next book has 500, and then his final book, everything's got 200, 200, 100, 100, 100. So if you can get into that 100 level,
Yeah.
that should be your first, goal going
Okay.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. My beta readers are from this online author site,
Yeah.
and I have not. Some of my critique buddies have bought my book. That's some of that 11 reviews, but I
Yeah.
have not put a wide plea up on the site for all those authors. Hey guys, download and review my book, and I do that for the novella. in part just to see what kind of response there is. That because that could be a very powerful free
Hmm.
review generator potentially. We'll have
Yeah.
to see.
So very important when you do your titling. Do you see it? So well, let's just keep using IT here,
Sure.
Mr. Lucas here, and
Right.
his that looks like Kellen Sarsgaard or some one of the Sarsgaard brothers for some reason. Anyway, so you can see here it's called Dark Stranger, the Dream, whatever, and then it's the Children of the Gods Paranormal Romance series, book one. So you're gonna want to have something like this in your title. Like
Okay.
let's keep going with the escape idea. You can do whatever you
Right,
want, but
right, right.
it's the escape series book zero for your novella, or you'll say, you know, prequel or something like that. You'll say prequel or whatever. It's prequel to book one or something of that nature. And then for book one, you'll say the escape series book one, the escape series book two. You'll want to make sure you have that type of branding in your title so that people
So,
can see it right up
so
front.
is it a bad plan to call the novella book one since it's 32,000 words? Or
It's I would go with prequel.
okay.
I've seen here's a good example. I always like to do this guy, Michael Weishart. I like
Mhm.
his he's a fantasy guy, but we can always learn from other people.
Right, of course.
So he has 1,000 reviews, The White Tower. He has this now Plague of the Shadows is his second book and everything. So he has a prequel that's on the Michael Weishart website. It's not even available on um, it's not even available on Amazon. So it's called Shackled, and he calls it basically a prequel. I don't like how his series looks on his website. Um, yeah, so he has Shackled, and he calls it a prequel. And so I think you'd want to. So he calls it I'm saying it's real small here. The Alderaan Chronicles prequel, and then it's the Alderaan Chronicles book one, Alderaan Chronicles book two. So you'll want to specify that it's a prequel when it's on, but you want to also specify that it's in the series. So you want to hit both things there. Book zero, I don't. It makes sense that it's you say book zero, but zero calling
It's a
something.
negative connotation.
Yeah, so book zero, yes, you're right. Zero has a negative connotation, but also zeros you tend to use zero for like if you're coding or something like that. We all know zero is one in software world, right?
Right.
The I don't know if readers would get that, but they get prequel. So you could say, the Escape series colon prequel, just call it prequel and then see how that works, right? It would not show up in your carousel. But if you do, there's kind of a funky thing you can do in the back end and the dash. When you're setting the series, you can set the prequel as one, and then book one as number two in the series, and then your prequel will show up in your carousel. So
Okay.
that's something you can do, but you'll always have to remember that whatever book you're on, it's just in the series, it's the one more, right? And
Mhm.
that would be good. So you would have your prequel showing, you'd have
Okay.
book one, you'd have prequel, Helios, and then the next one, right?
Right.
That's definitely something you could probably let's go ahead and start with that. Let's get your prequel in your carousel because then also visually it will look like, oh, there's more stuff here, right?
Right.
And what is that prequel? I'll click on it and buy it, right? That type of
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
And you can get some purchases there. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to show? Um, ah, Here it is. So marketing campaign tools. So thinking ahead, once you start getting all your stuff in place, obviously your newsletter is small right now, and
Right.
we can go ahead and maybe have another conversation about how you want to grow that newsletter using newsletter swaps, using things like book funnel, using group promotions, things of that nature, and how to grow that newsletter. Get it to 1,000 subscribers would be really, really nice. When book two comes out,
Hmm.
or book three, maybe by the time you finish the series, it might be good to have a personal goal of having 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
Just this kind of like a business goal. Like, you're a business, right?
Right.
You're a publishing
Right.
house. As a business goal, we want to see 1,000 subscribers, right? So you're going to take advantage of the KDP free days to do that initial promotion. So that'll be great. You'll get, trust me, when you run that first free promo day, it's terrifying, but also one of the most exciting days because you're going to be looking at your dashboard and you'll see like 2,000 books given away. and you're going to be like, oh my god, 2,000 people now have it in their Kindle, and it's terrifying and exciting at the same time, that
Wow.
type of stuff.
Sure.
um, you can do some social media posts. You'll definitely use the free promo sites. So there's some free promo stuff on Reddit. There's some free subreddits there you can promote your book.
Ah,
And then also what is it? The things like Fussy Librarian, things like Free Booksy. Um, you can definitely take advantage of those and use your free days to promote those. You can also do paid days. So things like Free Booksy, your book needs to obviously be free, but they also have a bargain Booksy, which is,
right.
99 cents to $1.99. They typically like to see the books priced at, and
Okay.
you can play with those. I would not burn them all out on that first promotion. Go slow, because things like Fussy Librarian cost money, and you don't want to drop $500 and not see any return. So you want to kind of go slow on that. And also
Sure.
it gives you more practice. It gives you more practice at doing marketing. So if
Right.
you're doing small little marketing campaigns, like, hey, I'm going to drop $40 on a Fussy Librarian, run a free promo for 30 days, send out some stuff on social media, maybe get a newsletter author swap, and I'm going to give that a test, right? And see what happens over 3 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, I'll do another promotion, that type of thing. So every 45 to 90 days, you're doing a nice promotion. You kind of like train that muscle of marketing, and
Right.
then you
Right.
can see what works without burning the bank down to the ground, right?
Sure.
And it's very likely that your first promotions, if you just run a Fussy Librarian, you give away 3,000 books, you get a bunch of reads, you get a couple buys on your pre-order, you'll make your money back, and then you just roll that into the next promotion, and then you just keep growing yourself over time.
Okay.
That would be kind of the effort.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. That's
I'll send you these slides. I gave this talk last year. I don't know if you were
okay.
there, but it has an example of what that looks like. So beginning marketing plan for 1 week. So you'll do a free day. You set the price for free for 3 days. You do a newsletter, some social media, free promo stuff. And then when it's day 4, the price comes off of free to whatever your default price is. So 99 cents, $2, whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
you do some more promotion over 7-day period. And then you just see what happens. What does the tail look like after that? What does Amazon do for you over the next thing? What happens with the also bots, right? You're not running Amazon ads. You're not running Facebook ads. Just see what happens. And then the next time you do a promotion, maybe you add one more thing in, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
actually a simpler plan right here, even simpler. And then you can get more complex over time. So just showing you, this is what Tony saw. So she was kind of seeing some middling sales. She did exactly this plan right here.
Mm-hmm.
Free for 3 days. She had, I think, book 2 and 3 available. So she got, a huge spike in purchases, tons of page reads, and then there was just a long tail, months long. And I think she made a couple $1,000s last year off this type of
Wow.
stuff. So she peaked at 47 in the store, free store, which
Wow.
if you realize where that is, let's see. So you go to the top 100. So
Right.
she was on the top 100, right? Top free page. She was on the free at the bottom. So a lot of eyeballs coming in when you're sitting
Right.
here. When you're sitting here between cowboy boots girl and dragon abs, uh, when you're sitting in between these, you're getting a lot of organic reach, right? And you'll see
Right.
a lot of Kindle, you'll see a lot of indie authors here in the free promotion, because most of the publishers don't take advantage of this. So you'll see a lot of romance will be in here, and you can see,
Sure.
yeah, a ton of romance sitting in here. Wolf abs, dude
Mm.
abs, cupcakes, abs, cupcakes, abs. They're just screwing around. I want to eat, and then I want abs. Oh, here, look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I need to write a paranormal bakery series
Yeah,
to
this
take
guy.
advantage.
Paranormal. So you have these really ripped dudes who change into wolves and they bake cupcakes. I think you have a dominating genre right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wolf abs who bake cupcakes.
You know what? Actually, that would be funny as hell
Yeah,
if every year on April Fools I put out a short story parody.
I
I'm
think
gonna do that. Hell, I'm gonna do that. That would be
yeah,
so fun.
you're just mocking genres. You can be the
Yeah, yeah.
you can be the
Scottish billionaire cowboy vampire. I mean, who could not click on that? Hell, I'm gonna do that.
you could be the your pen name. You could be the Chuck Tingle of
Exactly.
paranormal romance. All right, cool. Well, it's been an hour. So, do you have any
Oh,
other
thank you,
questions?
Matt. No,
No,
no, no. Thank you very much. I
no, no
appreciate it.
problem.
I think this is just wonderfully helpful.
No,
I'll keep my head down and try to get these things up.
I'm super excited for you. Let me know when you're getting close, and we can go over our last little nuts and bolts. And then I'm so
Sure.
happy you're able to do everything, the audiobook and everything. I'm actually very interested in hearing you download on your audiobook experience. So once you get it all done,
Yeah,
you get it
I'm
uploaded.
happy.
I'd
I'd be
love.
happy to do that,
Yeah.
and maybe it would be useful for the other folks. What I'm doing is I'm setting a timer every time I dictate,
Mhm.
so that as I go, one, I can see if I'm getting better, more efficient, etc., because apparently there's a lot of keyboard shortcuts and all. But the other thing is I think that might be useful,
Mhm.
to have an idea going forward, not just me, but other people, um, the time involved, so that
Mhm.
people can do the math and decide if it's worth it or not.
Absolutely. Well,
So
I
yeah,
mean, it's
happy to.
it's it's free. It's just your time,
Right,
and
exactly.
that's the best part of it. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to get a little download. Maybe we could do this on your audio when the audio book gets uploaded and everything gets released. Are you using Audacity for that?
I am using Audacity
Okay.
for that. I checked into there's a thing called Audible something or other. I don't remember what it is, but something that is 20 something bucks a month. But I think, I'm being careful, and I
Mhm.
think I'll hit all those marks, and editing, it takes a little time, but it's not rocket science. So I think I can do just fine with the Audacity.
So I have a talk on the members site. What I'll do is I'll send you after this. I'll send you a link to the slides I was showing you here. This marketing talk. I'll send you a link to that, and I'll send you a link to the. I did an audiobook talk like 2 years ago when I helped Jared do his audiobook and a lot of the problems that I went through. And there were a couple plugins to Audacity that I used to help doing the leveling and the normalization and all that stuff.
Oh, that'd
And
be cool.
yeah,
Because
and
I'm
you can
I'm getting right to the point where it's
yeah.
almost time for that.
And
Yeah, that'd be
in
awesome.
there was a plugin called the ACX check. So it checked
Okay.
if your audio would pass their
What
checks.
RMS and
Yeah,
noise
exactly.
floor and all
Uh,
that stuff.
yep, the RMS normalization stuff. Yeah, and then the high end check. So I'll send you that link, and then
Oh,
maybe you can go. And it has links in there to go download those plugins.
awesome.
Okay, cool. All
That
right.
sounds
Well,
great.
I'm
Okay,
so
Matt, thank
excited.
you
All right,
so much.
no
Thank you so
problem.
much. Have a good trip, and